Welcome back, YouTube. This is Baylor Mage, day 3 update, our second update for the Contagion build that our league started with. Little bit slow on the progress. You can see we're halfway through about yellow tier maps, but we're feeling quite tanky already. 6.1k life, acro, phase acro, and with flasks up, we have 22,000 evasion right now, as well as 52 attack dodge and 42 spell dodge. So we're doing pretty good with all the flasks up. Pretty much everything, all the flasks are as they were in the guide. Haven't really deviated much here at all. As far as gear goes, we're going to go through some gear choices that I've made that weren't really part of the guide. For instance, I've gone with a dagger that just has a buttload of spell damage and a little bit of cast speed just to feel nice. The reason I've done this is because I wanted shield charge with fortify, and right now fortify with wands is bugged, and because I wanted fortify and I wanted it to work, I had to go with a melee weapon. This is not ideal. We're 90% sure it's a bug and that it's going to get fixed. And as soon as it gets fixed, we will want a wand with, now let's see if I get this right first time, non-ailment chaos damage over time multiplier. Yes, nailed it. We're going to want one with that and as much spell damage as possible. That is king. It would be absolutely king if you could get a good spell damage roll, a good non-ailment chaos damage over time multiplier roll, and then room to craft the chance to gain arcane surge, because we cannot gain arcane surge in this build, as I overlooked earlier. Which means also, in case anyone missed it, our 6th link became energy shield leech support until we get an empower of at least level 3. And then that takes over. So I've gone for that weapon and this shield. I'm testing out right now a steel skin level 16 in a cast when damage taken increased duration setup. It seems to be working okay, but it does only add up to about 1300. Yeah, 1300 extra effective life basically. So we've gone a lot higher than we used to go with cast when damage taken. So I've got a level 12 cast when damage taken. So I need to take, how much is it? 1,600 damage before it'll even trigger. But when it does, it gives me a shield that takes 70% of incoming damage up to 1,300. So it's essentially just another 1,300 effective life, which makes up for not having our energy shield, which is quite nice. As far as gear goes, a few people have been asking me, how do I gear? Basically, every piece, that all that is needed is life and whatever resistance you need. As well as, if you can, when you can, evasion is nice, but not important. Again, reduced flask charges used is quite nice, but again, not mandatory. We do have one searching eye in the build to gain onslaught, so we've just got a low life roll and a chance to gain onslaught on kill. And if we go over to our tree, we have a few jewels that only have 1 damage stat and a life roll, because they're only about 10c on hardcore. If you can get 2 damage stats, that's great. I'm going to go over the damage stats right now for your jewels. Number 1 is always going to be non-ailment chaos damage over time multiplier. However, it's hard to get my hands on those, especially in hardcore. They're quite expensive. Don't worry about them. So life is my mandatory stat, and then we're after as much of these ones as we can. So there is spell damage, chaos damage, damage over time, generic increased damage, and spell damage while holding a shield. They are all worth the same amount. 1 point of any of them is worth the same amount of DPS. So you're looking for as much as you can get of those and a life roll for jewels. As far as our shield goes, it's worth noting that you can get spell damage or chaos damage rolls on shields. I haven't been able to find a decent enough one to pick up yet, but I would were I in softcore and the market was a lot larger. Now, we're going to go over 3 really good chest options for your mid to late game mapping. So 3 really good uniques and an option for rares. So let's change screens to one I prepared earlier. So option 1 is a Kintsugi. These are relatively cheap and pretty damn useful. So we've got 20% less damage taken if you have not been hit recently. So all your damage over times that hit you and the first hit that hits you is 20% less damage. Recently refers to the last 4 seconds. And then 50% increased evasion rating if you have been hit recently. So when you do get hit that first time, buffs your evasion up, so hopefully you don't get hit again. Decent option, very often overlooked. Option 2, fantastic option. The perfect form. A little bit expensive in hardcore, do not know what the softcore market looks like, but comes with phase acrobatics. Comes with Arctic armor has 100% reduced mana reservation. Now, if I were to get the perfect form, you would very quickly find me dropping phase acro on the tree and also dropping these lead-in nodes to it because they're not worth it without having to go in. Now, I would keep acrobatics because there's a lot of little hits going in right now, but that is still 4 passives we would get back. So that would be fantastic. And because we've got Arctic armor has 100% reduced mana reservation, I would be either I would be dropping Swift Killer to pick up either Escape Artist and then drop Eldritch Battery and run on the mana that I've got, or I'd be dropping the same stuff and going with Weave the Arcane if I needed more than that 25% mana if it wasn't regenerating enough, but I would have to test and play with that to find out whether or not I needed the mana. I would rather go with Escape Artist and drop Eldritch Battery if I got a perfect form, but right now in hardcore they are very few and far between and quite expensive. So my personal favorite choice for a chest piece and what I'm currently wearing is a Carcass Jack. Basically, we're just looking at a buttload of area and area damage. Area damage is not as important, it's just increased damage, it's just area damage, whatever. But it has made my area of effect quite big for Contagion. That is just my base Contagion area now. So it's made the spreading really, really good. So I quite like that. The other unique that I need to mention again is Allelopathy? Now I would personally give up my Val Blight for this. It's a level 22 Blight and I would get an extra support gem, as well as a bit of increased damage and increased area of effect. So I would give up my Val Blight for this. If I managed to get a pair, I'm told on softcore they're quite cheap, so I would definitely have a pair were I on softcore. Right, so that is pretty much our update. If anybody missed it last time, I'm going to point this out again because it's super important. We have dropped Zealotry out of this build. Flesh and Stone is an amazing aura. I cannot, there is very few builds in existence that should not be running this aura now. It is way too powerful. Again, it blinds everybody nearby while in sand stance, which we never leave. We're always in sand stance. And then you take 11% less damage from enemies that aren't nearby while in sand stance. So it's just 11% less damage taken from anything that hits you from range, which is a lot of stuff. And then anything that gets in near you, constantly blinded so it doesn't hit you. Super important update. Really love that one. Otherwise, build is going fantastically. Absolutely fantastically. We're just going to really quickly show off a map. Just a low tier map because I don't want to die while I'm not streaming. and it is quite speedy. See, it barely gets hit, everything dies. It's so nice. So with shield charge, you'll find we're getting fortify a lot, so we really just rarely take damage. We rarely get hit, and then when we get hit, we rarely take damage. This is what I wanted to show you. I'm happy it's early in the map. Little bit of lag now that I've got this much AoE, because it unlocks the entire thing with one cast, all the way down both sides. It is just so good. And then we just sit around and wait. We just sit around and wait, and there we go. Oh, I had to cast twice. Feels bad. So yeah, that is by far the best way to clear out these things right now. Occasionally, my rares are not dying, and I know that a new wand would fix this, but I don't want to give up my fortify. So GGG, please fix, sir. Please fix. Yeah, so I will empty this out later. That is the end of our build update. We might be trying a little bit later to change our ascendancy points. I'm heavily considering going into overcharge and dropping Swift Killer and just picking up Escape Artist and keeping the same tree. I don't know yet though. It looks, I really like the you cannot be stunned thing and the extra spell dodge. I'm really after this dodge and evasion stuff. So we're still testing out a few things, but overall very happy with this, especially for you console players. If you plan on starting up right tomorrow, I think it is, or possibly tonight, depending on where you are. Fantastic. Absolutely loving it. It is so smooth to play. Nothing clears out the monoliths as good as this. So yeah, have fun and enjoy. I'm Baylor Mage, and I will see everybody later.